space around us as well. So I began to use these syllables just slowly and gradually, first in meditation and then in healing. And really, you know, they gave me the original kind of initiation into this system, and then they said, okay, you're on your own. Have fun, good luck. We'll see you later. So it really has been a co-creation in a sense, and it wasn't just like they said, okay, this is what you do, this is how you do it, you know. It's really been a process for me of discovery, and actually I probably wouldn't have it any other way, because at first I was very, very skeptical about this. I definitely have a skeptical side, a skeptical streak, and even with all my years of meditation and all that, I'm like, really? You know, I mean, this is just wild. So I had to find out for myself if there was really something to this. So I really took the attitude of being a scientist and experimenting and seeing what these syllables actually did, how they could be used, and slowly and gradually this whole system of healing developed out of this work, and with the basis of using the syllables, but also various points on the body and how to activate those points. A whole system of looking at the energy field, and but also, and really even more importantly, the healing is just an aspect of really how this work can assist us in an evolution of consciousness. So it's really a spiritual path, and a path of awakening our consciousness to our multidimensional being, to the tree of life within us, and to really living from the perspective of unity and embodying the tree of life in our individual lives and, you know, on the planet in every way that we can. So let's see, the next, what have I got here, the next? So this is the cover of my book, and just a beautiful. This was actually done by an artist named Sundara Fawn, and she designed this for me. I thought she did a beautiful job, but. So this shows the toroidal aspect of our energy field, which all of our fields are toroidal in nature. And then the caduceus, which is the core channel, running down from the top of the head down to the base of the spine, and the right and left channels, the solar and lunar channels. So these are channels of subtle energy, which I use all the time in the work that I do, and you know, very important for activating and balancing the subtle energy in our systems. I just also want to point out here real quickly, part of this teaching was the idea of what they call the 4 master points, and they're 4 levels of our consciousness. So I call this one the master healing point. It's represented by the earth, and it's the instinctive intelligence, the instinctive consciousness of nature, you know, of the physical body, of the physical world of nature, and represented by the earth. Then this master soul point, representing the subconscious mind, and the energy of the soul, and that's represented by the moon here. The master self point, which is the conscious mind, the level of our consciousness that we just call the conscious mind, what we're aware of on a daily basis, and that is represented by the sun. And then the master spin point represented by the galaxy, and that is the level of the superconscious mind. So the idea here is that we have all of these different levels of consciousness. They're all extremely important. One of them is not more important than the other. And so the idea is to really integrate all of these various levels of consciousness. So what we've been really focusing on in this group here is, of course, the level of consciousness related to the earth. And of course, this is the earth itself, but also that whole aspect of our being that is our instinctive intelligence. The intelligence that really allows us to heal. That when everything gets out of the way, it knows exactly what it needs to do, in order to create healing in the body. If we were to try to micromanage that, there would be no way. It's just, a vast intelligence that is really the intelligence of nature. But this is often an area, of course, that even in our own bodies, we, are not in touch with. And I personally have had to do a lot of work with activating this level of energy, the master healing point. So I was given syllables that activate all of the different levels of these, of our consciousness as just a process of really bringing the fullness of our multidimensional being, into embodiment. So can you go up a little higher? Yeah. Okay. So if we look at our energy field, this is kind of what you could say would be the basic structure of our system of energy. And it has the vertical alignment, which is our connection to the earth, and then our connection up to source, and the different levels of consciousness that are an aspect of that. And then we have the horizontal alignment, which is all of the different layers of our energy field and the way that we move through time and space. So the vertical alignment is very much just in the now, you could say. And the horizontal alignment is really all of the different capacities we have to be in the world and to be full human beings. So there's 9 different levels of the energy field that I work with. And so it's a lot to keep track of in a sense. But the analogy that I use is that we really are like our full capacity is each one of us is like this beautiful mansion. And we only tend to live in maybe the kitchen, the bathroom, and the living room or something like that, where we have this huge house with all of these rooms and all of these different capacities, in a sense. And so this is, if we were to look at all of the different capacities that we have, generally we're living in only a very small part of what this diagram represents. So again, my work is really about integrating all of these different aspects of our multidimensional being. So we have the physical body, the etheric body, which is more the electrical energy of the body, the vital body, which has to do with the fluids of the body. And that's really important. That's one that a lot of energy systems don't talk about. And then the emotional body, mental body, the luminous body, which has to do with the heart field, and the causal body, what I call the morphogenetic field, and the higher, the unitive information body, what is we usually call higher mind. So this just gives you a general idea of, kind of opening the view a little bit more when we're talking about what our capacity really is as human beings. And this is our design. This is totally our divine design, what we were absolutely meant to embody. So this is just a picture of what we just looked at. If you were to look at it in terms of energetically, it would look more like this. And I love this picture because all of this is based on this figure standing here on the Merkaba, which is really the embodiment of divine love, of unconditional love. So it's the unification of the spirit and matter. And the two triangles coming together in the Merkaba. And so our design really is based on this unification of spirit and matter, which is unconditional love.